I'm Mike.
I'm Jason.
Welcome to Snake Envy. We're going to do another question of the day, and this one is about social media. When you and I first started keeping reptiles way back, 70s, early 80s, no internet, no care sheets. There were some books.
There was Reptile magazine came out fairly early.
Yeah.
I mean, until the internet came out, until Reptile magazine came out, I thought it was the only weirdo out there,
I know.
And now
I know.
The whole world opened up to me, and
yeah,
I know I'm not the only weirdo. So
exactly. There wasn't the sense of community that we have today. So the question is, social media was the next evolution. And obviously everybody's on social media now talking about snakes and reptiles, and we're doing this on YouTube. So here's the question. On balance, is social media good or bad for the hobby? What do you think?
I think it's a little bit of both. The first thing I think of is information. Good information can be shared through social media, like proper care. But on the flip side, you can get bad information, and
you can.
You need to keep your snakes at 84 degrees or whatever it may be. And certain snakes like that. I mean, I'm sure pythons. I don't know. I'm not a python or boa guy, but I know they're warmer than what I keep my stuff. But yeah, it's just stuff like that. We know a lot more, and I've heard lots of interesting things, especially temperature related. But
it's also the tone in which information is provided. So I think on balance, social media has definitely been good for the hobby. I mean, there's a good and bad to what we did back in the day, because we learned directly from mentors. And I had several, you had several, and you were learning face to face from someone how to do all this, and you were seeing in person how they did it. And I honestly don't think there's any substitute for that. Social media and care sheets and things like that has replaced that mentor relationship. I think that's bad for the hobby. I think if there was a way to get back to kind of that one-on-one learning, ideally you'd learn from multiple people and get different perspectives. But the internet and social media have replaced all of that. And the worst part of social media in general is just kind of the abusive behavior and the bullying and people with attitudes and know-it-alls, and that definitely comes through in the reptile world.
Well, as a breeder, internet, is another perspective, but it's internet is good, you can advertise and stuff like that, but you have competition side by side, and it's a lot tougher that way. So there's still pros and cons to me about it.
Yeah. I think the part of social media that I get, a little upset by is just beginners. I feel like they don't always get treated as well on social media as they would in person.
Right.
I always feel bad for the beginner that goes onto a Facebook group and they're excited about their new snake, they're excited about their enclosure they just set up, and they go on and they want to show it off, and they just get savaged. And it's everybody saying, well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you got to do this, you got to do that. And, sometimes I like being that just kind of reassuring voice. Hey, you're doing fine. Nothing you're doing here is wrong. There was an old adage in the hobby that if you asked how to do something, you'd get 10 different answers, and all 10 were for the most part going to be right. And I think that's still true. There's a lot of different ways to do the same thing, but sometimes on social media groups there tends to be everybody kind of moving in the same direction, and it's frustrating sometimes because beginners are kind of getting bombarded with a singular message rather than hey, you can also do it this way, you can also do it that way. Everybody's got different budgets, everybody's got different space, everybody's got different comfort levels with different things, and everybody's got different preferences. That's okay.
Yep.
And sometimes on social media, I see the multiple right ways of doing things kind of getting drowned out a little bit. And that's partly why we do our channel. We're hoping to, kind of give people different perspectives and a little common sense and say, hey, there's more than one way to do this.
Yeah, and hopefully we're giving you good information that you can turn into good care for your reptiles. And that's kind of our goal. We want to teach and educate people proper care. Not that we're the best or experts, but
our way is not the only way.
Yeah,
that's the prevailing message, and sometimes we're not even doing things the same way. I do wish on Facebook sometimes. I think YouTube's great because you can just go watch. If you don't like what they're doing, you can go watch someone else. Yes, there's a comment section, but for the most part, I think it's people just tuning in and leaving. Facebook is where it gets frustrating a little bit in the groups. I think it's all about the moderator. You have to kind of set the tone for your group. The one thing I wish would happen on Facebook, and maybe it does more than I'm aware of, but I wish there would be groups kind of geared just toward beginners and just toward breeders, and you kind of want everybody intermingling a little bit and be able to tap into expertise, but I don't always feel like the information gets disseminated in a polite,
right.
You know,
and
what
there's
I mean?
so much, and you see it a lot. I see it a lot, like when a newbie comes in the hobby and they're like, there's so much lingo, there's so much, you know, Lamprepeltis, Pituophis, for Exanthic, and all this genetics, and then you get localities, and then you get people, they're getting localities mixed up with color morphs, and, so it can be all a mess.
Well, and somebody asks a simple substrate question, and then the bioactive people chime in, and then somebody asks a heating question, and then it all turns into UV, and then, you kind of want that intermingling to a degree, but I think it'd also be nice if the bioactive guys were over here and the substrate guys were over here, and I don't know. There has to be a happy medium. I think that's where moderators come in.
So I kind of think of as caring for snakes as kind of like a job in a way. Like, you can be shown one way to do it by one person, or you can be shown by a variety of people, and take little parts and pieces and make your own, make your own system and what works best for you. And I always take that approach with work and snake care. If someone says do this, I'll try it. If I find it's not helpful enough, or wasn't, or something was better, so I kind of like, and as much as I want to say listen to everything we say, but no, take some information from a little bit from everybody, and mold into a care that works best for you.
That's the key. You got to take all that different information. You got to take your own situation into account, and you got to figure out what works best for you, because most everything you're going to hear, yes, there's bad information out there, but most of what you're going to hear is going to be positive as far as your snakes are concerned. But it has to fit you and your space and your budget, and it's got to work for the way you do things. So that's the challenge on social media. Maybe sometimes you get too much from too many different directions, but
and you get a lot
that's the way it goes.
You get a lot of strong opinions, and like I say, mold it into what works best for you.
Yep, absolutely. Let us know in the comments what you think about social media, and maybe how social media could be improved, as far as the hobby goes. Thank you.
Thanks.